So I found us a Valentine wreath that I think you'll enjoy, and you use only ribbon to decorate it. So you will need the heart wire form, and you'll need a couple of different ribbons. You can actually use 3 colored ribbons if you want to, but at least 2. And these I have gotten along the way. This one is a lot with the khaki and the hearts, and then this one, you may not think that color matches, but as you can see, this red wire ribbon is matching the red that's in here. And then I have another idea because of the way this will lay out. Also, you will be using your scissors, and you might need a ruler to help measure this unless you use the measuring on your cutting board. You're going to be cutting these strips on each one of these rolls. Do know that it generally takes like 2.5 rolls of ribbon to do this entire wreath. Additionally, you will need your hot glue gun. So have that ready to go after you get your ribbon cut, but that's the tools we'll be using for this project. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to measure out our ribbon, and you want to measure out 7 inches, but to have that true fit. And these are 2.5 inches wide. So just measure out 7-inch strips. Now, when you cut your strips, you definitely want to do a 7-inch. Like I said, you could do a 5 if you wanted to. And what you're going to do is you're going to dovetail the ends. The way I do that is I fold it and I put the wire towards my less dominant hand. And then that way, when I cut that dovetail, you can see that's at a sharp 45-degree angle and go towards the wire. And you'll do the same on both sides. If you were left-handed and your right hand is less dominant, just take and kind of fold it and put the wire towards your less dominant hand and then cut it at a 45-degree angle. That'll give you these beautiful little dovetails. You can do them individually, and where you snip it on each end if you want to. It's whatever you are most comfortable with and whatever gives you the most accuracy. For me, I literally just fold it in half and I get it done a lot quicker. And so then that way, whichever way you can gauge it. So do all of them this way. Now, the question is, how many strips will you need? Once I get mine cut, I'll let you know an exact count. But if you are changing colors alternately on the wreath as you go up on each row, then it's going to depend on how many you need to go around this. So for now, I'm going to do several pieces and get those ready, and then we'll begin putting them on our wreath. So starting down here at the bottom, I have cut out 14, or actually 15. 15 yielded off of one spool of 2.5-inch wide ribbon. Now this spool was a little bit bigger, so I got about 20 of these. And on my secondary one, I also got 15. And that's just rough guesstimate, but 15 is what you'll get out of a single 2.5-inch roll that is around 9 feet long. And then I selected this gigum black and white that I'm going to do in the center, and that will give it some different color variation. But as you can see, those match pretty good and look pretty good together. So this is how you do it. You'll start out and take your ribbon, and you're just going to kind of fold it in half. And when you bring it down here at the tip, you're going to feed it through, and there you go. You kind of got it like a little banner flag. But what you will do here is when you want to kind of fold it even Steven, and you want to take your glue gun and just put a small amount right here on the middle, just enough that it will keep your ribbon from swishing back and forth. And when you bring it over, just make sure that you meet them. And then down here, just put you a dot on each side, and they'll keep those closed. And you'll work your way all the way around the ribbon. Now, to hide this little metal piece, you are going to take your scissors and you're just going to put a little side slit. So when you go to fold it in half, we want to mask this wire, and that way we can kind of bump it there. So you're just going to barely put just a small little cut in that wire, and then that way it will kind of overlap a bit. So when you feed it through, that way you'll be able to slide it completely over here at that wire. And now once again, you just want to make sure that you've got that good and slid over. And again, you want to put a little bit of glue right there on the wire, fold it in half, and then down here at the tails, you're going to put a dot and a dot, just enough to keep that fold closed. You want to make sure you got them good and even. You don't have to be too accurate, but you want to be pretty close. Now, the next row will overlap that, so you'll see as we progress. And I'm just going to continue going around the wreath in that manner, just folding them. I'm going to pre-fold them. That kind of makes it a little bit easier, so that when I feed it through, I can get my glue on the frame and I know exactly where to stop. Once again, just a little bit across the edge of that metal, just enough so that it stays clasped together. Fold it in half, and again, make sure that you put a dot on each leg of your ribbon. Now keep them folded. Now, like this one is sliding up and down, so I'm going to sneak in here and put a little bit of glue on that wire, just so I can catch that and make it stay. And it doesn't take a whole lot, so by the time you go all the way around. And once again, right here, you're going to have to take and get it in there, and you can overlap these if you want to. It's not a big deal. So what you can do, one way, because of that wire, I'm going to do it on the back versus the top through the center here. So I'm going to go up through the center, and I'm going to see if I can bring those tails on either side of the wire so that it straddles it, just like that. Make sure if that's halfway or not. I'm just checking here. And then that way, if I need to put more of a cut in there, I can. And because the split's going to be on the back, no one's going to see it. So again, we're going to just put our dot, and make sure you put some across that wire so that when you fold it, it sticks to the other one. Now, and just go on around the same way, and you'll eventually make yourself all the way around. So there's two things I want to mention. Up here at the top, when you have the dip in your heart, you're going to have to kind of make a decision and overlap one to the other. And you can just overlap them and make sure you get their points and put one underneath the other. Down here at the point, you're going to take one, and it took a total of 19 to do the outer perimeter. You're going to take one, and when you fold it and tuck it under here, you're going to find that on the sides, as it comes down, in order to get that rightful dip, you're going to have to kind of push your finger into that point and let that ribbon bow, so that when you pull these together, it'll have this little dip in there. So that's two things I wanted to point out. And once you've gotten that, you can just put a little dab on the actual ribbon, which will hold it good. But make sure that particular point, when you do your dovetail, you want to make sure it's just picture perfect, because it's going to serve as your new point now. So you want to make sure it's real good and pretty. See, like mine has a little cut. I'll straighten that up. But you want to make sure it has that good pitch, because now it's going to be the point of your heart. So it took a total of 19, so I have one ribbon left over. So now I'm going to start on my second layer. And once again, I'm going to go right here, and when I put this in, I'm going to put a cut in the center. Now this ribbon is beautiful. It's actually Christmas ribbon. I mean, if you were to get on it and really, really look close, you would notice that it has like reindeer, and it actually has Happy New Year on it. But when it's on here, it's serving for color and texture. So it's really not a concern. And when I do this one, once again, I'm not worried if it doesn't go all the way over here. Actually, I will put a small cut so that it slides down, because this one's kind of offset. So what I'll do is when I run it through here, I have the leg kind of cut right there. And what that will do is allow that to slide down where I need it. And now I can once again put my glue on the metal and on the tails. And then that way you'll hold that ribbon. And just a dot and a dot. I don't think it'll need any more than that. And then I just make sure that one meets. And then over here meets. And that takes care of that one. And there, it's on the wire, so it's not going to go anywhere. This almost has like a, it's like velour on the outside, and it's like a plastic. I've never seen any like this. I actually picked this up at a estate sale, and they had just a box of odd rolls of ribbon, and it was kind of one of those anything on the table $1 kind of thing. And I grabbed it, and it had a whole box of ribbon, so I took it, and I kept wondering what I could use this on, and this just worked out perfect. So as you can see, we get just a little bit of reveal of our hearts here. And if you wanted to, you could actually cut these a little bit shorter. These are cut at 7 inch, but you could actually do these at 6 inch if you wanted to, and that would give a little more exposure of this lower one. But I think it'll work out just fine. It's all for color, and if it is too long, I can go right here real easily and clip these back a bit. So I'm going to go all the way around, and once I get that done, I'll be able to decide if that's what I want to do. So just keep working your wreath and putting your ribbons around. I'm going to guesstimate that since 19 went on this first row, most likely right around 14 or 15 is going to go on this row easily. So once again, when you start out, make sure you have some ribbons that can complement each other, and then that way, or at least more than one roll, so that just in case you need a few extra pieces. And once again, you can always cut these down to do these at 6 inches and do this second row at 5 inches, and that will give you a little more ribbon so that you won't run out whenever you get ready to go around there. Now, if you'll do that little cut like I just did, you can camouflage this wire and still be able to get coverage. And once again, you can allow those to overlap. It's not going to hurt anything. So just a little bit on the wire and on the legs. And that keeps everybody together. Alright, so I'll just keep going. So I have now completed my heart wreath, and I added this little sign. I also got this at Dollar Tree along with this checkered ribbon, and we're going to hang it up. I had these two little pieces left, and as you can see on this black and white one, It actually took 13. This one took approximately 15. And then this one on the outer took 19 in order to make it. So you could use 3 ribbons or you can use 2 ribbons. You need that texture and that difference. So let's take and hang it up and see what we got. So here we have the heart wreath, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And as you can see, those layers I spoke about at your end, you want to make sure those dovetails are looking pretty spiffy because it'll define your point. And then up here at the top, as you lap those over, you're going to get that perfect pitch. And I'm just got jute twine tied for a hanger, and that will allow it to tie to the wire in the back. And that way you can get it at the length or level that you need. The small sign came from Dollar Tree, the little wooden sign. And basically I just took a zip tie in the rear and tied it in the back so that it would suspend in the center. That way if I desire to use that sign for something else, I can just basically clip the zip tie. And you can see how beautiful it is. It really makes a statement with all the colors and the texture. So definitely make you the ribbon heart wreath and put that up for everyone to enjoy and share the love. Happy Valentine's Day. This is Elizabeth. Until the next DIY, well, I'll be crafting, y'all.